Hi there, Wayne White in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Today I'm going to be covering the 3D Creator role, and more specifically the XDesign app that it contains. Now I'm going to be creating a simple handle for the rotating guard of the circular saw. Let's take a look. For my portion of the mechanical design, I will be using XDesign, which operates under the 3D Creator role in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Because these xApps don't care what operating system I'm using, I'm going to use my MacBook Pro. Logging into the 3DEXPERIENCE platform is just as one would expect. I can open an internet browser of my choosing, navigate to the platform, and log in. Here, I'm going to navigate to a specific tab in my already created dashboard. And as you can see, I have access to conversations, communities directly in the platform. I can directly talk and communicate, collaborate with other team members on this design. Here I'm going to navigate to the Design tab, where in this case I have access to the xApps. Those are applications that live in the web browser. I'll go ahead and open the circular saw, which shows up on the homepage because I've been working on that recently. Now in this case it opens in XDocument, which I will be reviewing in a future video. I can quickly change to XDesign just by pressing X on the keyboard and then switch it to that particular xApp so long as I have the role already purchased. Now, creating geometry in XDesign is very intuitive. It is a single modeling environment, so we can create parts and assemblies all in the same interface. We can also switch between other xApps if we have those necessary roles purchased. My responsibility for the circular saw here is to create a handle for the rotating guard and also the annotations and dimensions, but that will come in a future video. Here, I'll create the part and I'll also place that at the origin. As you can see, the rest of the product turns transparent and I can start my design. Here I'm going to begin the sketch referencing other geometry in that product. Creating a new part is a breeze. I can easily reference other geometry in that product. So stealing geometry from diameters in this case is easy. I can create a couple of concentric circles that are coincident to the center of the mating screw. I'll assign a couple of dimensions to these circles. And I'll continue the sketch with my initial idea. For those that are familiar with many three-dimensional CAD tools, we can add dimensions or relations to help fully define the two-dimensional sketch. And as I sketch here, you can see the sketch comes in a blue color. Blue indicates an underdefined sketch. I have ability to move those edges in that two-dimensional plane. Now in this case, it might be a little bit easier if I just isolate the part that we're creating here. We only now have visibility of the part that we're making. Here, adding dimensions couldn't be easier. I can select the entity and very quickly bring in a dimension. Additionally, I can multi-select in the interface as well. This will allow me to bring in dimensions like the angle dimension that we see here, or relations to other geometry. And as we can see, there's very nice shortcuts. I can just press the S key here to access very commonly used sketching tools. So for the outer contour here, I've very quickly got to a fully defined sketch. But maybe I want the bottom point here to be tangent with a circle rather than driving that vertical dimension as I previously did. In this case, I want to pocket the inside of the handle. That's no problem. I can offset the geometry very quickly with a specified amount. Go ahead and bring in a vertical bridge piece to that geometry as well, drawing two vertical lines and then dimensioning the thickness to that area at a value of 3 millimeters. Next, I will just clean up the overlapping geometry using the very handy trim function within XDesign. If I would want to do so, I can continue to add other smart dimensions here, which would allow me to continue to fully define the rest of this sketch. At any point, I can just drag on these blue entities to see exactly what degrees of freedom are underdefined. I'll exit the isolate mode of that part. It brings back the visibility of the rest of the product. The sketch is complete. Taking the two-dimensional geometry into three-dimensional space couldn't be easier. In XDesign, here I'll select extrude, which is actually a super feature because I can either add or subtract on the fly. I don't have to delete and recreate geometry. Here I'm going to extrude that circular boss so that we can see it here in three-dimensional space. That is a pretty standard extrude, so the from and to condition are really straightforward. Next, I'm going to create a pocket for the screw to sit directly in. So I'll open up another sketch on that newly created three-dimensional geometry. Sketch a circle. I'll define its dimension here at a value of 11 units, and then use that to extrude cut back into that circular boss. I'm going to turn visibility of that original sketch back on so that I can see the back end of that handle. And I'll go back into my features area of the action bar, and I'll select extrude. And here I'm just selecting the regions that I want to participate in that extrusion, along with the from and to conditions, and that's controlled here with a from offset at a value of, for this, 5 millimeters. Additionally, I'm going to take the to condition up to the bounding face on the right side of that circular boss. This is a very convenient way to honor the design intent here, which in this case is to make coplanar faces between those two regions. I only want an additional area for our finger to catch on for that handle. So I'm going to quickly draw in a rectangular sketch and once again extrude that region. And I'll extrude that using the ruler here that I can quickly and conveniently snap to whole integer values. I'm going to go back into our isolate mode and focus solely on that newly created part. I'll go ahead and save that. Last, in three-dimensional design, it's common that we would have our dress-up features, things like fillets and chamfers and the like. Filleting multiple edges with the built-in design guidance tools lets us expedite the application of the rounded corners for this design. One of the last things that I like to do to draw visibility to that part is to change its appearance. So I'm going to select it and then change it to a yellow appearance so it stands out. And it's something that I just recently modified. I can also export this in any number of formats, including STL. In this case, I'll save that on my 3D drive, and I can then share that link to other team members. I can control the resolution of the STL file, and it'll be ready for 3D print. And that's it. Our handle guard is complete and ready to share back to the team. So that's it. You saw a lot of sketching and ability to create very quick features in XDesign. Check out for my next video in the series where I will be creating dimensions and annotations for that same design. Thanks.